Okay, so I'm going to show you how an animated GIF works and how to create one. So this example here, it's a couple of steps in the animation, and it's using some fonts to appear and disappear. So all of the transitions, all of this aspect happens down in the timeline section below the canvas workspace. So if that's not visible to you, go up to Window and Timeline, and this will make it appear or disappear depending on whether it's checked or not. Okay. You're going to divide up your file into a number of different layers, and the animation works by simply turning on and off these layers in a sequence. So for example, down here in frame 2, I've turned off the F, so I made this invisible, and then you see the white background from the white text down here where I filled it. And the same in frame 3, I've just turned off the next layer above, and so on, and keeps moving. And then in this layer, what I've done is I want to make all of the characters flash. So I've turned off all 4 of those and left on the kind of blank background, and then all 4 back on, and then all 4 back off. Now, to make the animation run, you need to give each frame a delay, so how long that frame is displayed for. And in this case, I've made them delay for 0.2 of a second. Now, you can select, if you haven't done this right at the start of making your animation, so all of the delays are set to 0, select the first one, use your shift key, select the last one, and then you can set the delay for all of them. So if you wanted to increase the time from 0.2 to 0.5. The play symbol down here for play animation will give you a preview of what your animation is going to look like. So this will make a very simple animation. And what I'll do is I'll set up a completely blank document now, and then go through completely making it from scratch with a text item. So File, New. And what I'm looking for here is a web preset. So I'm using a pixels, and then a very small kind of width to height ratio. So if you wanted to make it wide format, you could make this maybe 800 by 600, 72 pixels per inch, and RGB color. The background, that kind of depends on what you're thinking about doing with this. So if you wanted it to be transparent, you could make it a transparent background. I think the white background is fine for what I'm doing at the moment. So create that. And then this is my workspace. Again, if the timeline isn't visible to you at the bottom, just go up to Window and Timeline, and that will make it appear for you. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a text box. So a 4-character or a 5-character or however many characters are in your word. And just click and drag the text box, and this will automatically fill it with placeholder text. Okay, so if I wanted to make a 5-character one, in this case, I'll do that. I can select the type. So in the properties panel right at the top of your window up here, you can pop your cursor into it and resize the text, so you can bring it up or down. So if it's not the right size, you can drop it down in size. Okay. And the same way, if it's not the kind of font styling that you're looking for, you can swap through these and pick a different one for this. So this one is fine for the demo. And select out of it. If you needed to, or just wanted to change the color, you can select into it, and then either in the properties tool panel over here or the font properties at the top, you can swap the color out. So it'll bring out the color picker, and then you can swap through those. And blue is fine for what I'm doing. This will make you a text layer. And the text layer is named with whatever content it has. So because this is coming from lorem ipsum, it's going to name it completely with that. So I'm just going to delete some of that, so I have a kind of a shorter name in my layers. And then I'm going to duplicate that. So right click on the layer name, duplicate it. That will make you a copy. And then what you're going to do with the copy is you're going to right click and rasterize that type. Okay, so up here. You'll notice that the T symbol for an editable text layer has gone away, and it's been converted into a kind of a small icon preview of what the layer looks like. And that will show you what's happening. Now, if I wanted to fill the background and change that, just go down to the background layer, grab G for your paint bucket, and then fill it in. And if you have contiguous and all layers checked while you do this, what it will do is it will fill around the type. So we'll look at the mask from above and then give you a white text outline from this. Okay, so I'm just going to leave the text where it is. I know it's a little bit off to one side and not centered or anything like that. That's kind of more thinking about where you're going to lay out and make your objects. What I'll do now is I will take the rasterized type layer and duplicate this layer a couple of times. So copy it and then use the Control or Command key on a Mac, select the two, and then duplicate the two of those. So I have 4. And because I've got a 5th character now, I need one more. So copy that one more time. So 1 for each of the characters that we're going to have. And now it's time to set up to delete all of the characters from each layer that I don't need. So if I just turn these all off, and I'm going to go from right to left in this case. So I'll select all of these and then press delete while I'm on this layer. Okay, and that will get rid of all of the characters that are on that. So if I hide the type layer at the bottom, because you got to remember that's also blue and it's visible, you're not going to see any real effect of what you've done. So go on to the next one. And in this one, I want to delete the M and the LOR. So select around those with the rectangular marquee and then just press delete. Move on to the next one. And in this one, I need to get rid of everything but the OR. So I need to zoom in a little bit. And then the next one. And you're just turning off each layer on and off as you go so that you have all of the right objects selected. Okay. And then deselect that. You now have 5 layers. So your word separated into 5 different layers. So an L, O, or E, and M. And you can turn these on and off as you need to make your animation. And once you have that, again, that little asterisk means you haven't saved your file. So go ahead and save your file and give it a nice name. So lorem, and maximize compatibility. And now you're going to go down into the timeline and create frame animation. So we're going to make this transition between these maybe 0.2 of a second. And then we're going to copy this for each of the frames that you're thinking about this. So let's think about it. If we're going to have all the characters visible, and then each one in turn blinks once, I would need 5 more frames. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in frame 2, I'm going to make maybe the L disappear. And then in frame 3, I'm going to make the O disappear. Frame 4, the OR. Frame 5, the E. And in the final frame, the M. Now, if I wanted to do something like it pulse and then flash at the end, I would maybe need to copy this first frame in a few more times. So if I did that, I copy it, it will always go after whichever frame you're copying. So you can click and drag these and reorder them. That's no problem. And then I might make 2 more copies. And in this one, I can make them all disappear. This one, they're all going to be on. And this one, they're all going to be off. Okay, so as the animation plays, in the first frame, they're all going to be on, and then it's going to slowly transition through each of the characters going, on and off, and then a flash at the end. Okay, so if we click play, you can see that's what the animation is going to look like. And then once you're happy with that and you're happy with the setup, you need to export it out of Photoshop. So again, you cannot go File Save As and save it as a GIF. It's not going to actually make an animated GIF. What it will do is it will make a GIF file, but there won't be any animation in it. So you go down to Export and Save for Web Legacy. And then under the presets at the top, first thing, change it to a dittered GIF, and then change the colors. In this case, we've only got a very limited palette, but even so, what it's doing is it's looking at the blend on the edge of these. So if you zoom in on this image and you have a look at how those squares are, so let's go in here. You can see that it's making a nice kind of blend between these. So it's not a super sharp edge of just blue and yellow. It's using these randomized colors as a kind of a blend into these to kind of give a smoother transition between those. If you wanted to change the size of your output, so maybe you were designing it in a much higher resolution and you needed to downsize it, you can do that here. In this case, I'm not going to, I'm just going to keep it at the same size. So it's 800 by 600 pixels. So it's about so big. And then the looping style. So over here, you have a choice of whether it's going to loop once or forever. In this case, we go forever and choose save and then give it a nice name. So I'll call this one Lorem 2. And then that gives you your exported animated GIF. And you can also set the animation style over here as well. So to repeat once, 3 times, or forever. And then once you go into your folder where you've exported everything, you can then preview it. So you can see these are the 2 versions. You just click on it and it's going to open up your Explorer or photos and videos or so on, depending on what kind of operating system you've got, and that's going to preview your animation. Okay.